Hey Noir fans, Jason here from Speakeasy Noircast. So when Carly and I started looking for solutions for our podcast, we discovered there were way too many options available. We almost gave up looking for the right fit and came close to forking over a bunch of money for one size fits all type of solution. Then I stumbled upon Anchor FM. Not only is this amazing service free, but we can record and edit our podcast directly from Anchor FM or even on our phone when we're on the go. That alone saves us a ton of money and time. But there are several other major benefits to using Anchor FM that makes it the perfect fit for us. Anchor has a built-in solution for distributing our podcast to all the major outlets, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and just about anything else you can think of. You no longer have to submit your RSS feed to every single service in existence just to get your episode to your fans. And talking about money again, like I said, Anchor is absolutely free. And Anchor FM will even help you to make some cold hard cash right from the very beginning. Anchor FM has a unique advertising platform that doesn't require a minimum listenership. So right out the gate, you can start making some money. So let's put it in perspective. Anchor FM is free, everything you need to make a podcast in one place, instant distribution, and they'll help you make some money right from the start. So if you've been struggling to find the perfect platform for your podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. After you finish this episode, of course. So, Carly, it's been a long time since we spoke. Last movie that we covered was the amazing FBI propaganda film, The House at 92nd Street, or right?
Yeah.
The House at
Oh, God.
The FBI at 92nd Street. But, I mean, at least now we know how to be recruited by the FBI, how to botch a spy ring, and how to screw up our credentials.
Yep. Take a drink.
Right. Take a drink. Right. Oh, that's right. But speaking of drinks, I've got a great one for today that goes along great with the film that we're going to be watching.
Okay.
All right. So this is a super easy one, and you're going to love it because there's no mixers, there's no vermouth, there's no bitters,
changing
no
of like ice noise,
soda water, there's no ice noises, there's no nothing, and you're gonna love it.
Okay, is it just a can of course or a bottle of gin?
It's neither of those. It's neither of those, but it's simple. All right. And because in this movie, as I'm sure we'll talk about later, all you need is some bourbon. Okay. So our drink for tonight is a bourbon and a bourbon backer or chaser. Okay? So that's a double bourbon.
Nice.
Right? All right. So you're going to have your shot of bourbon and you're going to have your shot of bourbon chaser.
2 separate glasses.
So 2 separate glasses, right? Sufficiently drunk tonight.
Nice. I like this. This is my favorite.
Yeah. This is a good one. It's easy, simple, no changing of the ice noises you have to listen to.
No, because we've got the soundtrack.
That's right. No crazy mixers for you Brits. It's all pretty simple, straightforward. And it's going to get you, how would you say it properly? What would you say? What's the British term? Hammered? Okay,
Hammered.
That works, yeah. Properly hammered?
Properly bollocksed, maybe. for those that don't mind a bit of liberal swearing. Smashed. Oh, ow, my deep heat's wearing off. My
What?
deep heat. Ow.
Your
Do you
Dr.
not
Pepper?
have deep heat over there?
I don't know what it is. You gotta explain to me first.
You spray it all over, like, if your muscle hurts or whatever, you spray it all over it and then it burns the crap out your skin so your muscle doesn't hurt anymore.
No, we have like a Bengay or something like that for old people.
Maybe I need some of that. I'll take the old people spray.
No, it's not really for old people. It's just for your muscles that hurt.
Well, my muscles hurt. That's why I'm covered in deep heat and like high off the fumes. It's wearing off now because I just moved my shoulder and it hurt.
All right, let's get back on track because this is going to be hell to edit. All right, here we go. So enjoy your bourbon and bourbon chaser. All right. While
bourbon
we
for 2.
watch the bourbon for 2 for 1. While we check out the trailer for this awesome film that we're going to be talking about today called The Blue Dahlia.
Suspense swept shocker from Raymond Chandler's action street story of murder in full bloom. The Blue Dahlia.
You got the wrong lipstick on, mister.
Yes, Alan Ladd is in action again, and this time he's in a jam that's going to take a lot of fast talking and straight shooting to get out of. He's wanted by the police. He's wanted by a murder gang. And he's very much wanted by Veronica Lake.
You've never seen me before tonight.
Every guy's seen you before. Somewhere. The trick is to find you.
William Bendix as Ladd's best pal.
You think we're going to help you tie a murder to a guy who's flown us through 112 missions? You're off your nut.
We haven't accused Morrison of murder so far.
No, what's holding you up?
Johnny, don't you realize you're in danger here?
That isn't what worries me. I came here to do something. But you fixed that, too.
Johnny!
So long, baby.
Hold it. Give it to her. Wise guy, huh?
This big three makes sock entertainment out of Paramount's amazing story of murder on Hollywood's nightclub strip. The Blue Dahlia, directed by George Marshall.
So that was the trailer for The Blue Dahlia, a 1946 film. It's classified as a crime film and a film noir. It's directed by George Marshall, and it's based on an original screenplay by the infamous Raymond Chandler. And before we get too far into that, Carly, if you could please give the audience your, in a nutshell, synopsis.
Okay. I don't know if you'll appreciate this one, but...
I probably won't,
well,
but we'll see.
I hope not.
Every time, hold on. Every time you irritate me, you're going to have to take a shot. Okay?
Probably. Do you mind just doing the podcast on your own then while I'm on the floor asleep?
Well, I figured I'd be less annoyed.
Win-win.
Kidding. I'm a jerk. Yeah. No, don't worry about it. Forget I said
You're not
anything.
kidding, and you're worried that I am going to drink myself into oblivion and sleep. I'll do it.
No, I can't do this on my own. Scratch that idea. All right. Go ahead. Super famous Carly in a nutshell.
Okay. When the world's most horrible wife is murdered, the world's nicest tough guy sets about catching her killer and failing miserably.
All right. No, I mean, that's all right. It doesn't have quite the pizzazz of, you know, would you say Van
of Days
Damme
Gone
or,
By.
The Terminator on the last one, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I couldn't think of a nice tough guy.
A nice tough guy? Oh, I mean, John Wick.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to mention Keanu Reeves.
Well, don't mention Keanu Reeves, mention John Wick.
You brought it up. He is John Wick.
Okay. Well, Indiana Jones, he's a nice tough guy. No, Carly's. All right. I guess it's serviceable. It works. It works. I was interested. I thought it was interesting to find out that this was Chandler's first original screenplay. obviously synonymous with tough guy PI and film noir stories. Bogart's done a lot of Chandler type stuff and whatnot. And I really liked the Blue Dahlia. I saw it many years ago and had never heard of it, and just kind of picked it up and watched it and enjoyed it. And but one thing I did notice is watching it on this time around, it was really different to me. I really felt like there was more in this movie that took place in the Blue Dahlia Club. And there was like nothing that took place in the Blue Dahlia Club.
No.
And so my memory is like so skewed from that. It was really weird. I kept waiting for that stuff to happen. I'm like, what am I must be remembering other movies that have scenes in clubs, because it never really happened.
No, there's only like one scene, wasn't there, towards the end where they were in the club and then they went in the back office.
Yeah. And it wasn't even really in the club, so to speak. I really think there's really only one scene in the club, but it was interesting to rewatch it again. I still enjoy it quite a bit. Maybe not as much as I remembered, but I still really like the film a lot. And it also goes very much in line with a few other films that we've watched, touching upon, a little bit of the PTSD and the soldiers coming back from the war and that sort of thing. Which I found interesting as well. This is much more noir and much more darker, I guess I would say. Because, the more personal you get with these stories, the darker that they get. And this is a very personal film, but not just to the lead, which, was another interesting little thing. It's also personal to just about everybody really involved to the movie.
Oh, can we just give a special shout out to Buzz? What a legend he was.
Yeah.
Poor Buzz.
He's great.
He was brilliant.
Yeah. He really was.
He was my
it's a great character. I would agree with that. I think Buzz was a great character. I thought the actor portrayed him pretty well. It was, when they first get off the bus, and I didn't really know what the hell we were getting ourselves into, because, it'd been a while since I watched this, and I really didn't remember large portions of it, such as when they get off the bus, they go to the bar there. You got the soldier over at the jukebox playing the music, and Buzz just goes, he just goes mad.
He just goes batshit crazy.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, see that plate in my head, all this kinds of things. Is just like, oh my God, this guy. So he's fighting his own kind because he's been wounded and now he's not the same kind of person. There's like a lot of depth to those little pieces of the story that I thought they handled pretty well. And then at the end of that, the soldier he gets into a fight with is kind of like, hey, I didn't know. Sorry, man. And leaves. And that was really excellent. That was a great way that Chandler pulled that stuff off.
And what a lovely best friend he is. I wish he was my best friend.
Oh yeah. He's super loyal. Yeah. Everybody needs a friend that's that loyal. I mean, this guy would do anything. And that kind of bugged me at the end, because we'll get there eventually, but Ladd's character kind of blows him off in a way into that loyalty, because I guess it's one of those things where it's like, well, I didn't do it and you didn't do it. So don't say things like that kind of thing. Even though this guy is like going to cover for him no matter what. I don't feel like Ladd's character really appreciated that level.
No, it didn't. No, he didn't seem to.
Yeah.
That irritated me a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, as cool as Buzz was, and he's the guy you call when you do kill somebody to help you go bury the body. Yep. That's him, right?
Because A, he won't remember it.
Whatever they've...
And B, he'll probably do it for you.
I wasn't even thinking about the memory thing, but I guess that's a good idea.
He won't remember that you called him. And secondly, he'd probably do all the hard legwork for you anyway.
Right.
And then he'd probably take you for a double whiskey chaser afterwards.
Right.
Win-win.
Which is not a bad thing.
if you're a murderer, obviously.
Yeah. Now I got the feeling, and I'm not sure, but I got the feeling when he would call the music monkey music, that was some sort of derogatory
Yeah, I
slur.
wasn't sure with that, because he kept saying monkey music and it was the same type of music. And I also got that.
I just wasn't sure if it was because the music is like, big band kind of jazz, eclectic sort of thing. If it was,
or whether it was something that he heard in the war or something like that in a particular place that he was. I don't know.
If that was sort of like the derogatory term for it, or what it was like. And I wanted to do some research on that to kind of figure that out. But it just made me really uncomfortable every time that he would say it. And I couldn't really figure out why. And it even seemed like some of the other characters like would look at him funny when he would say that.
Yes, I picked up on that. He kind of, whenever he said that word, because that was his trigger, wasn't it? He always said that.
Yeah.
They kind of like, oh, don't, or oh, God.
Yeah, don't say that. What are you talking about?
I felt the same. It made me, but maybe that's the point of it, that it makes you uncomfortable because that's where his mind, I don't know. That's where his mind's gone.
Yeah. So I want to check that out. And I want to, I didn't get a chance to really look into that on here, but that was, if it was something that's deemed like derogatory at the time, or maybe even still, I don't know. I thought it was so effective because you noticeably can see the other characters like, hey, dude, don't say that kind of thing, because, everybody's got that friend that talks out of line sometimes and you're like, dude, calm down. You're kind of embarrassing to be around, don't say things like, that sort of thing.
Yeah. They were always very apologetic for him, weren't they? Like, oh, don't mind him. Mm-hmm. You get it back in your box sort of thing. Shut up. Right.
And so, I mean, there's so many effective things that he did with the screenplay in that respect, that once I started my research and learning that how this screenplay came about, just made it more intriguing to me. Knowing that it was his first original screenplay, not based on one of his books, but finding out that it was supposed to be a book, one that was, didn't happen because he couldn't figure out the rest of it and thought it would just work better as a movie. Then finding out that he had a first draft that was greenlit, and then the rewrites weren't finished when they started shooting. So they started shooting without a finished script per se. Well, they had a finished one, but it was just it was short pages, I guess. So they had 4 weeks of shooting that they did, and they ran out of pages. And so Chandler had writer's block. He couldn't finish the movie. So the studio, I guess, circumvented the director and producer and went direct to Chandler. Was like, hey, we want you to finish this. We'll give you a $5,000 bonus, but you got to finish it. You got to get this done so we can keep shooting. And that sort of broke Chandler in a way. It made him doubt himself because and he also felt, I guess, guilty or dirty, or didn't like the idea that he felt like he was being bribed to finish it, as if he wasn't going to, like he was holding it hostage or something like that. When it wasn't the case, when he truly had writer's block and just couldn't figure out the ending of the movie.
I might start doing that to you. I'm gonna write like a first draft, or like half a first draft that's just mind blowing, and you'll be like, yeah, let's film it, and I'll be like, I can't finish the rest of it.
I feel like we did that with Dark Winter.
I mean, I'm just saying, can't take my last one right now. Oh, what's that? You need 10 pages by tomorrow? What's that going in my bank account?
That might work.
What's that? You've got Keanu Reeves in your basement? How many pages do you need?
Well, I mean, you could try.
I mean, to be fair, that's 90% of my writing life. I'll write 45 pages or something. It's half decent and go, I don't know what else is happening, Jason. You finish it. And then complain about how you finished it afterwards. Oh, I didn't like that actor. I didn't want that person. Oh, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, change that. Do this different.
Because I read some of did some research about like how he hated some of the actors that were in it. Well, I think it was mainly the actresses. Yeah. So that's, I feel like he might be my spirit legend. That's like, couldn't be bothered to finish it.
Well, Speaking of that, the biggest detail of that whole scenario is the fact that I guess Chandler had quit drinking, and because of this movie, it started him drinking again because he went. Yeah, he went to, I believe it was George Marshall, the director, and was like, if you want me to finish this, the only way I can do it is if I start drinking again.
Wow.
And it's really sad to like hear the recounting of this story, because he's like, well, you do what you got to do.
Yeah,
kind
you
of thing.
crack on, love.
And
be an alcoholic just so I can have my 10 pages.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what he did. He went back to drinking and he finished the script. But that's not the end of the story, though. So Chandler wasn't exactly worried about the drinking, he said. He said it was more about stopping the drinking and getting back to normal. He said that was what scared him the most, was he would lose what normal was, which, I mean, is classic alcoholism, right? I think he's just scared he couldn't stop, basically. So it was really, sad to read that and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially if you've got somebody there that doesn't really care if you stop or not.
Well, that's the thing. I think Marshall cared, but there was so much at play with the studio going behind his back and Chandler's pride and feeling like he was being bribed by the studio, that it got him to a point where he didn't think he could finish it because of those elements. So in order to overcome that, in order to finish it, he really felt the only way to do that was to go back to drinking. Which I can understand that, because that's a lot of pressure and that's a lot of guilt that you're putting on yourself. Otherwise he would probably just walked away from the project.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that also led to another issue with his original ending versus what the studio would allow him to do. Because as you said, one of our favorites in the movie is Buzz. Okay. Because Buzz will do anything for his buddy. Okay. Johnny was, I don't know if he was his sergeant or, you get the feeling like he was the guy that ran the platoon, and, they would just do anything for him because he kept them alive, whatever it might be. So Buzz was a very pivotal character. And in the original script, spoiler alert for everybody out there if you haven't watched this, so you might want to turn this off and go watch the film. But Buzz was originally supposed to be the killer. So the whole blackout scenario and him meeting up with Johnny's wife, he was initially supposed to be the killer, but the studio, who I guess had the Navy included in on this, maybe as a consulting or whatever it might have been, would not allow them to have that ending.
Wow.
Because it frowned upon the Navy. It made it look like they were sending people back that were broken, whatever it might be. So they were like, no, you can't have that. You need to change the ending. And that's the reason why the ending got a little convoluted and was different.
Oh, because the whole Buzz being the killer was set up so perfectly and so tragically.
Right. Yeah.
And then it was just like a totally 360. Oh, it almost felt like a theatre play.
Yeah.
Oh, we've just walked out. Never mind. It was the old guy. Bye.
Yeah. And I didn't mind the idea that the building manager, whatever you want to call him, was the killer in this. Like that didn't bother me, because I do think Chandler sufficiently set up motive and reasoning behind it. Like his skill level at putting that together, I thought worked very well. The problem is that you can see in this version of script, like I feel like he needed more time to smooth it out, to have Buzz set up and then, portray that he's the killer and then have that twist ending of it being the building manager. Needed to be smoothed out a little bit more. And had he had more time, I think he would have been able to do that, because I think both of those options were great. And I think Buzz being a red herring would have been great, but also great as the actual killer too. I think that there was a lot of opportunity for Chandler to be able to work with both of those ideas given more time. But the fact that the studio was worried about Alan Ladd getting called back into active duty, because he was in the military and he had been honorably discharged for some sickness or something they had gotten. But then they were like on the fence about bringing him back. The studio was worried that he was going to get called back in, and they were going to lose him as one of their contract players. So they really were pushing for a new film to put him in before he got called back. So I think there was a lot of pressure there on Chandler and Marshall and, you know, everybody involved really at the time. And eventually Alan Ladd did not get called back in. So that really, you know, that really sucks basically. I mean, you know, I think Raymond Chandler, for being his first original screenplay, probably could have made this an amazing film given the proper time.
Yeah.
Without the falling back on the drinking and all that nonsense, you know. So that's, you know, that's sad to hear about and to learn. But at the same time, I still think that what he did create was pretty damn good. And I think that it goes to show how creative and how intricate he is in his plotting and his characters and how personal he can make things. Because like I said earlier, I really feel like the way that he wrote this screenplay is he really makes the story personal for everybody involved, even the bad guys, even the people that you don't like, and the minor characters, which I hate calling like Buzz a minor character, but he's not the star of the film. But you know, being a co-star, really, like all these characters, he really makes it very personal for him.
Yeah.
So hey, Carly, let's take a break real quick and talk to our listeners about our sponsors. All right, guys, we're back and we're going to keep talking about this film. I love Veronica Lake. I think she's great. I was surprised to hear that Chandler did not like her in this. Like, he is very outspoken and did not care.
I can't remember the quote he said about it, but I can't remember what he said, but it was like, have you got it there?
I've got it here. If you want it. Well, I have what he calls her. So he had an intense dislike for Lake because he just felt like her performance was super flat. And the only time that she was good in the movie was when she kept her mouth shut. And he referred to her as Moronica Lake.
That's it. Moronica Lake. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. And I think she's great. But she never read Chandler's work. So apparently when they were doing press for this film, what she did is she went to the studios, I guess, press people and got some recordings or their write-ups of Chandler. That was all PR stuff. And she listened to what their write-up of Chandler was, which was just basically like, you know, propaganda for Chandler. And so when she would do interviews and stuff, she could speak to his career and what ultimately makes him a good writer and all that kind of stuff. And I think that sort of created some dissonance between the two. And also he just didn't care for her in the film. Which in honesty, I think that she was very flattened compared to some other stuff that I've seen her in, but I didn't hate her. I didn't think she was bad.
No, I didn't think she was bad, but I think a lot of that boils down to the fact that the wife is just horrible.
Horrible as far as the acting, or horrible as far as what she does in the film?
Her character is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really, I don't know. I don't like to criticize acting because I'm not an actor, but personally, I didn't enjoy her time on screen at all. I didn't like her character, but I've seen a lot of bad characters that I've been interested to watch. And I really wasn't. I was just waiting for her to get shot. Because clearly from the synopsis, she's the one getting shot. I was just waiting for her to get shot. No, I was.
I didn't find her, like, I hate what she did to him. Like, I don't think that that's a good way to be. You're married, that sort of thing. But I try to understand in the same way that the man that she was seeing understood it, where he was like, you know, you never knew if you were going to see him again. He's been gone, but now he's back. We need to stop this. You know, as detestable as the guy that owns the Blue Dahlia might be, he wasn't an awful person. So I kind of looked at her character and what she did in the same way that he did. And the fact that at that time during World War II, there were soldiers going and never coming home. And I can only imagine how hard that might be on a married relationship.
Yeah, I know, but she got drunk and killed a kid. So, I mean.
Well, yes. And that's horrible. Okay. Well, it's a horrible thing that happened. Also looking at the 40s, and there was a lot less regulations in terms of cars and things like that. And her mind state, her husband's gone to war. I try to factor all that kind of stuff in. I definitely don't think that he should have stayed with her or anything like that. But I'm just trying to say that I like put my mind in her position, like to try to kind of see what she's going through. Yes, it was everything she did was terrible. It was terrible, but I don't think she was a lost cause either. I don't think that like she deserved to die.
No, I don't. Well, nobody deserves to die, really. But I mean, I felt like when she was throwing herself around the room, wailing, and I don't know. I didn't.
She's broken, she's broken.
Again, I've seen other characters and other actresses do similar and do less irritatingly. So I don't know if that boils down to the fact that I really dislike the character, or whether I just do not really appreciate the actress in that particular performance.
I'm feeling like it might be the actress, but I do have a little bit of information for you that might have lended to the reason why that happened.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, and forgive me, I cannot remember her name.
Well, that's a good start. Most horrible wife in the world.
Sorry. Doris was her name. That's what it was. Doris Dowling. Okay. So I believe that the reason why a lot of that throwing herself around the room was because she was about a foot taller than Alan Ladd was. And he was irritated because he's a leading man. And at the time, that was like a big deal. And you couldn't have your female counterpart, tower over you. It would minimize him. It would dwarf him, basically. So it was a, chauvinistic pride sort of thing that he threw a fit about because she was taller. So that forced George Marshall, the director, to block her and stage her in a way that didn't dwarf him on set. Okay. That meant she had to throw herself down on the couches and beds and all that kind of stuff and block them farther apart so that they could, put the camera angle in a way where he appears taller. And I believe that a lot of her performance was dictated by that, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, that's more understandable for the pattern.
Yeah. And I think it's really because it did play almost like she was overacting in parts because of that. But I'm certain that had a lot to do with it. And also her as an actress trying to portray a woman who is broken. I thought she came off pretty well. Doing the things she did. Like, I don't condone anything. Like everything that she did, I fucking hate. I detest. That dude, I mean, that's at a point where I'm okay with that dude like smacking the crap out of her. Like everybody coming up to the door being like, hey, you're going to treat your wife that way? I'm like, fuck yeah.
But he did play the holier than thou card very well, didn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like she killed their kid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like he should beat her or anything, but I mean, that at least deserves a single smack across the face for not telling him. I mean, that's just horrible.
Well, no, it's not. It's actually not horrible that she didn't tell him when he was in the war. That's not horrible. It's the fact that she told him the day he came back after he'd seen her snogging somebody else in a party full of lunatics and went, oh, by the way, I killed our child. That's the bit that's fucking horrible.
Well, yeah, I guess my level of horribility, like I think that was
right
that
out
was
the window for me. I was like, just shoot her. Just shoot her. I hope you shoot her and I hope you get away with it.
Yeah, it was already horrible. That was like beyond horrible to me.
Yeah,
that was
just evil.
Yeah, it really was. It really was evil. But again, I like look at it like, well, she's really, really fucking broken. Like her character, and that's why I didn't mind her acting. Like I thought if somebody is that broken to do that kind of stuff, like they're going to be erratic.
Yeah, they are going to be very up and down and very off the nut.
Yeah. And so I thought she did that pretty well. Like I didn't find a flaw really in her performance.
Can I just say though, the drunk woman at the party stole the show.
The one that likes our lead character, Johnny.
Yeah. That is, if anybody's curious, that's me at a party. Just like, oh, look who's here! Everybody come and have a look! Who wants a drink? I don't care if you want one. Let's go. Let's have a drink. Who's this?
Carly's just wanting to marry whoever walks through the door.
You've got, that's a bit like, you look a bit like Keanu Reeves. Let's go and have a shandy.
My God. This movie did have 2 lines in it that I loved, though.
Seems I've lost my manners. Or would anyone here know the difference?
And then there was another line that was repeated.
You've never seen me before tonight.
Every guy's seen you before. Somewhere. The trick is to find you.
There was definitely a few moments in there where the dialogue I just thought shined pretty well for Alan Ladd's character.
I mean, he was so nice, the drunk one. Bless him. He was just like, okay, love. See you later.
Yeah, he handled it pretty well.
He did handle it well. Because I'm just so that everybody knows, I don't try and marry everybody at a party. Because I have a husband, 11 years strong. He loves me. But don't ever ask him the truth. But I just want to be best friends with everybody. So people that I absolutely detest, if I am off my nut at a party drunk, I'd be like, oh, I've always loved you. You're so wonderful. Let's be friends and talk about our past life for the past 20 odd years.
Yeah. I mean, and that's...
Even though and then I invite them round for like dinner and shit. And in the morning, Street's going, you invited so-and-so round for dinner. You know that, right? Oh, crap. Why did I do that? Why didn't you stop me? And he's going, thought it would be funny. Like actually come and then you see that message. Are we still on for barbecue or whatever the hell it is? Oh God, how do I say no? I hate you.
I think we've all been there, but you know what? That's when you got to start drinking again so that's okay when they show up.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my life cycle, just making friends with. And I always make friends with the weirdo as well. You know, the weirdo that everybody's avoiding? That is the person, for some reason, that I toddle off to and go, have you got a lighter?
That's good, though, because those are the people that have hard times mingling.
Yeah, I know, but then they never leave, and then they end up getting arrested, or that's the weirdo that gets arrested, or something like that, or has a bird in the pocket or something. I don't know.
A bird in the pocket?
Oh, don't. Right, when we had the pub, we used to have a bloke that come in, and he was a little bit out there, shall we say, and he came in one day, and he pulled a fucking baby chick out of his pocket. And I swear I'm not. I swear to God I'm not lying. He pulled out a baby chick out of his pocket and asked for a beer for it.
He's trying to trade for it?
Extreme like. I don't think you should have that.
I love it.
Because you can't really take care of yourself, so I don't know, A, where you've got this from, and B, why you have it, and C, how you haven't crushed it in your pocket already.
Well, he's not a monster. He's taking care of it.
Well, no, I know, but when he's showing it to us, it's like crushed in his hands. He's like, oh. Okay, I don't know if the chick can breathe. Can we see it?
That's funny. Well, you know, this movie is supposedly one of the most popular films, or was the most popular film at the British box office in 1946. So I'm surprised that I don't hear more about it because of that, and because it won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I seriously think Chandler did a great job on this, and I do feel like it could have been better, but under the circumstances, I still feel like it's a really good movie. So I loved seeing that it won an Academy Award. And that it was top box office in the UK at the time. And I don't hear a whole lot about this movie. Occasionally I see somebody like post about it online somewhere or there. But it doesn't get as much love as like some of the other Chandler stuff or stuff based on his books.
I do have to say what I liked about it the most was, in this situation where you have, the murderer and the potential killers, and then you have the cop.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be one of the smartest cops. One of the smartest cop characters in film noir.
Yeah, he's not hot-headed.
No, he's not hot-headed. He's not stupid. He's very switched on and from the first time you see him, he's cogs are turning. He's got stuff rolling.
Yeah, and I think that's some of the brilliance of Chandler, because he focuses where he's supposed to focus. He focuses on the lead characters and doesn't give us a whole ton of insight into the cops' investigation. But when he does, he lets you know that, like, the cops, like, they're not dumb. They kind of get what's going on, and the characters are just making their lives worse for themselves because they're caught up in it.
Yeah.
And I think he does a really great job portraying that. And I do have that sort of like love-hate relationship with films and TV that they usually only take one stance or the other. Either the cops are stupid or the cops are overtly smart. It's rare that you kind of see the ups and downs and kind of the real reality to it, and how evidence really works, and, interrogating witness, things like that. It's rare that you really see it played out the way it normally is in real life. But Chandler, I think, did a great job focusing where it needed to be focused on, and like I said earlier, making it personal for each of the characters, even the cops, even though we only get a certain glimpse at what they're feeling or thinking at the time. Like it's enough. It's enough of the right thing to see.
I do have to say, though, this might win the award for most idiotic moment in a film noir.
Oh, tell me what it is.
Pulling over and stopping for a random stranger that might be a serial killer that actually turns out to be wanted for murder.
You know what? That's literally the only problem I have in this movie. Not that she pulls over for him, though.
And then the same guy getting into a random car with two random men that may or may not be gangster serial killers.
Well, okay. So let's go back to Veronica Lake's character picking him up. Okay, so had that felt more random, had she not been married to the club owner, I would have been okay with that, because people do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I can understand in her mindset with everything that's gone on. She's kind of in a headspace of like, screw it, I don't really care anyway. So I can get that.
But at that time, there was no murder yet. Like, we don't know of the murder yet. So they're really, like, that danger of picking up a stranger, especially in the 40s, was a lot less intense as it is today, where it's like, yeah, you just don't do that anymore. So that was kind of, I didn't mind that as much. It was really that it wasn't very random, or it felt way too convenient that she happened to be married to the club owner. Mm-hmm. That just puts everybody in the same world at the same time, and it was just too convenient. That was really my only big issue with this movie.
Yeah. Bit coincidental.
Yeah, it was just too coincidental. Otherwise, she would have been totally fine. She didn't need to be married to the dude. But that's the way it played out. That's fine. Get it. The two guys that pick him up outside his buddy's apartment, that one I'm okay with. Like, if the cops are coming to get you,
yeah, I guess it's desperation.
You're gonna go with them.
Yeah.
He was gonna turn himself in. When he left that room, I think he was gonna turn himself in anyways. Like, I figured that's where his head was at. He'd already talked to, his friends about it, but now he was a little, put off because his friends thought that he killed her. Yeah. And that pissed him off. Like, you guys are supposed to think the best of me. Like, their loyalty was superseded by his own pride of, I didn't do it. And so it irritated him that his friends thought that he might have, or that he did, because it would be understandable had he done it. So I feel like his head, when he leaves that room, he's going to go turn himself in anyway. So him getting into that car with these supposed cops wasn't going to be a big deal. Now, of course, we know that this is the guy that is trying to protect the Blue Dahlia. We know that this is not the people he should be leaving with, before he does, but he eventually figures it out and, things don't go well, but, he eventually gets out of it. And
well, that's an understatement, isn't it? Really? Things don't go well.
Right. A lot of blackjack hitting over the heads. But, at that point, though, once I think that's sort of where the break of Chandler's script happens, is somewhere around when they get to that secluded location. They've got him tied up. I think the script was supposed to go in a completely different direction. I have a feeling the cops were supposed to be led there somehow, and things were going to unfold differently, and then we were going to find out Buzz was the killer. But things went back to the room at the Blue Dahlia. And I got this feeling that was going to happen differently. That was sort of the moment where things sort of changed. And Paramount, or I think it was, I can't remember who made the movie, Universal or Paramount, whoever it was, decided to say, no, the Navy doesn't want Buzz to be the killer. You're going to have to change that. Or maybe it was Chandler just having writer's block and did not have the end of the movie, whatever it might have been. I think that was like that point, because that's where things started getting a little shaky. Because that whole section really had zero purpose. It felt like it would have had great purpose, but
it felt like it was brewing for a really good climax, and then we suddenly just shifted off to another location.
Right. Yeah. Right. And it just didn't make it. Why did we kill off the guy that was the club owner? Why did we kill there was no real purpose to any of it happening. It just felt like, okay, I have to write another ending. This is how it's going to happen. So we'll just kill him there and then move on. Which is plot, it could happen, but it just didn't feel right. It felt like there was something that was done on purpose in order to get to our new ending kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it still all kind of made sense, and it still all kind of worked out. It's just one of those moments where you could tell, had he had more time, he would have made it brilliant. I just really think he would have. But, even good films are not without their faults. So, that's just what it is. That's what we got. And I still think it's a classic. And I think it's absolutely worth watching and owning. And this is actually out there, I believe, on Blu-ray. You folks can get it to check it out. It's a good movie to have. My opinion. Carly's going to tear it to shreds here in just a minute, right?
Never.
All right. Well, we're at that time anyway. So we're gonna have to give this some gens here. Right.
How many gens are you giving it?
I'm going to give this, I'm torn. I want to give it a 9. I want to, because I think it had that potential. But I'm only going to give it an 8 because its faults are there and it's obvious. It has some obvious faults. But I do think it's very entertaining. I think it's got a great setup. I think it has great characters. I think the acting is great. I do agree with Chandler with Veronica Lake. I don't think she's horrible, but compared to other stuff she's done. I don't think a character
really has a lot to do though either, to be fair. So that could be part of it. She's a bit of a boring character.
Yeah, and I think that was, again, maybe has to do with some rewrites. I feel like she probably had more to do in the end, or at least she should have had more to do in the end, which is a fault of Chandler. So for him to, fault her is sort of like, well, you're both at fault.
Yeah.
You didn't give her a
anything to work
role.
with. Yeah.
Right. She's really just the new love interest that's also doing the same thing his current wife was doing, which is messing around. So it didn't make her a good character to begin with, because he's just getting in league with another person that's going to screw him over, or potentially could. Because, that's what they say, if once a cheater, always a cheater kind of thing. So, I mean, it's safe to say that she probably would end up being unhappy with him down the road if that's who, he ended up with. So, I don't know, that's a fault of the writing. That's a fault of, maybe her acting, whatever it might be. But I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 gens, because I really do enjoy the movie. Even though it's black and white, the idea of the blue dahlia flowers that he's sending and naming the club after, even though we don't spend any time in the club, my memory places us in the club a hell of a lot more than we actually are in the movie, which is interesting. But I felt like it was just a good, well-rounded, interesting film. It definitely feels like a Chandler film. It's got its intricate plot. It's got its great characters. It's focused on the right places. Everything is very personal to everybody involved. I just thought it was well made.
Very good.
I know. It's my opinion. So it's always very good.
Fabulous.
I broke my 5 streak.
You did. I'm going to give it a 6.
8.
6. Stop
You meant 8.
whispering things that you're going to edit out later. No, I nearly said 8 then. It's not 8.
I'm calling it and I'll give it 8.
6.
I give it an 8.
Don't mock me, Morris. With your phony British accent. If you can say bollocks in a British accent, I'll give it whatever you want.
Bollocks?
No, oh my God, no. Wow.
Bollocks?
You sound like you're saying bottle it.
Bollocks. Buttlicks. That's buttlicks, Carly.
Buttlicks. You said buttlicks then.
Bollocks. Bollocks.
Oh my God, it's getting worse. We've gone from buttlicks
Moving
to
on.
bollocks. Buttocks. So I don't think you've been able to successfully say that. So I'm going to stick with 6.
You're fired. How could you give this movie a 6?
Because there was I felt like there was a lot of missed opportunities, which now that you've explained the backstory, I understand. However,
that doesn't make it a better film for you, but
no, I can understand it and appreciate it, but I felt like when I was watching it, there was a lot of unevenness and missed opportunities, and there was some parts that I really, really enjoyed of it, but then it just seemed to, as soon as I was getting into it just kind of slowed down. Like I say, I really enjoyed any time that Buzz was on the screen because he made the film for me, but he shouldn't have made the film for me. It should have been maybe the lead characters or the story, but it wasn't. So
I don't know. I'm okay with the co-star stealing the show. I think it happens a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're wrong.
Yeah. I like the flower being the trigger of it all.
Yeah.
But then that didn't have a greater part to the rest of it, like you said, and I don't know, there was just a piece of it that felt missing to me.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that. I don't think it deserves a 6. It deserves an 8, Carly. Come on.
No.
What'd you give House on 92nd Street? Didn't you give it a 7?
I gave it a 7.
God, you're killing me.
Well, do you know what? I watched them one after the other, and sadly, I have to say that I enjoyed that film more than this one.
I don't like you.
Sorry. I already knew that.
I need a new
co-star.
I need a co-star.
Well, go and find one then. Open auditions.
Nobody's going to spend an entire hour out of their day talking to me about movies if they don't like.
You never know. Craigslist.
That could end up worse than this film.
Yeah. Hey, I could do an interview for the Crime Channel when you get murdered. How did it all start? Well,
he seemed like a normal American.
I mean, how would I ever say American like that? American!
Oh, man. All right. Well, there you have it. You've got an 8, the right number, and you've got a 6, the wrong number.
Do you know what? I think that you should do an entire show with a British accent.
I don't think I could do that. It'll end up being like
American.
Australian. Everything I do, it tends to go Australian for some reason. And I can't even do that well.
I mean, I have not heard one twinge of Australian in all the words you've tried to say.
Yeah.
But,
No,
okay.
Because I'm trying really hard not to. It's not that I'm trying really hard to be British. I'm trying really hard not to be Australian.
You went to say Australian in an Australian accent.
Australian.
G'day, mate.
No, there's no good accent that I can do. I don't even do my own native accent. I sound like a Muppet.
Well, you're not getting hired by the FBI, are you?
Nope. Or Jim Henson.
You've got to be able to do accents. You've got to go infiltrate people. Bag out with my buttocks.
I feel like British is just leaving out every other letter. I'll go.
Can't even finish the word.
Yeah, you don't even like, it's like you guys are just trying to get through, without saying it's lazy speak. You're just trying to say it as fast as possible, and it just leaves letters out.
Because we're lazy as shit. So, I mean, cut out the middle.
But then other words, you elongate other words. You're like lazy as shit.
Lazy shit.
Like the dude from The Wire. I don't know. Anyway, you guys are amazing.
Stop creeping.
I feel like each of our countries are being sources of comedy for each other.
You're creeping to all the British people that listen to this. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I said I can't. I'm fucking awful with this. I can't do. I'm as good as your French. Your French was awful.
My French was great.
I think I think Carly thinks that her French was amazing, and she takes offense to me calling her French awful.
Very immensely.
But
I do
not that I've ever been to France, but I have done some. Oh shit, Frankenfarfen.
You sounded German.
Stop it! Nein. As close as I got to French was doing some auditions for a movie. We had a woman come in that was French, and she was very hard to understand. She actually was great. She's a great actress, but could not understand a word that she said.
Oh, so she'd be great in a silent film then?
No, like you could tell, like her emoting and the way her inflections and everything were great, but her accent was so thick that you couldn't understand what she was saying. We would have had to have subtitled.
I mean, you have to subtitle me, so I can only imagine.
Well, when we get the YouTube channel off the ground, maybe we'll have to do that. Well, you'll say things like bollocks, and then the subtitles will have to put in the meaning in American. I'm not even sure what the meaning in American is. American English.
God. We could have a whole separate YouTube channel explaining the words.
It's not a bad idea. I saw somebody did some like College Humor or whatever it is, like some comedy YouTube video where I guess it's an American woman married to a British guy, and so he would say things like, or she would say, "Can you put the car in the garage?" And he's like, "You mean the garage?" Like shit like that, and like it would just be like this back and forth of like her saying the American word and then him, saying the British version of it, and it was just hilarious. I gotta find that for you because I feel like that's us sometimes, but yeah.
Do you know what a driveway is?
A driveway is a parkway, and a parkway is a driveway.
All right, shut up, show off.
I know that one.
All right, one to Morris.
Yeah, that's the only one that I know, probably. Though. Vitamins. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's the Blue Dahlia. Carly loved it. She gave it an 8. I also gave it an 8 because it's an amazing movie. And I hope that you guys check it out. It's it's out there. You can get it on Blu-ray, I believe. It's a fun movie. It's another Chandler escapade, and I think Carly's just mad that Bogart's not in it.
Maybe.
Or maybe she's happy he's not because she didn't like the film, but whatever. Carly doesn't matter.
Oh, well, bloody charming.
I'm kidding. Carly matters. She's the star of the show. She's why you guys keep coming back and listening. We could definitely not lose her.
Even though you're outsourcing for my role.
I was going to say, I am looking at Craigslist at the moment. I'm kidding. No, she's indispensable. We cannot lose Carly. She's too much fun. And she teaches me British words, so.
I do.
What's that?
Like? What is it? Bollocks?
Like bollocks?
Not bollocks. We'll work on that.
Bollocks or bollocks?
I'll have you swearing like a British person in San Francisco in, 3 to 6 months.
Maybe.
Tell them bugger off. That'll freak them out.
I'll mispronunciate everything, but I'll give it. I'll give it a
just
college
have a little
try.
Notepad. Just hold it up.
Yeah. Give it a go.
Oh God.
Give it a go. Oh, give it a go.
I feel like you've been watching Mary Poppins.
I might have. We actually watched. We watched the Addams Family last night as a family, and my daughter said that I think it was Gomez reminded her of. She goes, that reminds me of the old dude that dances on the table in Mary Poppins. And she's talking about Dick Van Dyke in the remake at the end. Just thought it was funny. They were doing like the Mushka, the Russian dance thing. I don't know if you remember that movie at all. But
yeah, actually, I can see where she's coming from.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Good movie. Anyway, there it is. We're well over our staying time. I don't know, what do you call that? Or we're out welcoming our welcome.
Allocated time slot.
Yeah. We've worn out our welcome. It's time to go. This was a nightmare. All right, folks, we will see you next time. Enjoy the madness.
Or the bollocks.
Not the butt licks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
He's looking at you, kid.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Speakeasy Noircast. Make sure to visit our website, resurrectionfilms.net, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast apps, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, The Dark Side of Acting Up, available now on Amazon, or you can check out one of our films available on Amazon Prime.